Today is day 2 of the BeFit Breeder program. Like I talked about yesterday, my whole goal with this is that I can breed a bee that is more resistant so I can provide all of my northern climate folks a bee that doesn't require as much treatment, if not any treatments whatsoever. A lot of our commercial bees are very susceptible to mites and all other viruses and spores and whatnot. That's why so many commercial beekeepers have to treat with lots of chemicals and antibiotics and all of that. And I don't think we really need to be doing that. It may sound like a lot of work to try to breed a bee that is more mite resistant, but in the long run, actually, it's gonna require less work because you're not gonna need to be treating it and giving them all these chemicals and crazy stuff. And really, it's better off for the bee's overall health anyways. So yeah, don't mistake me when I say I'm trying to breed a mite that requires little to no treatment whatsoever. I really believe that as a beekeeper, it's your responsibility to make sure your bees do not have a high mite load. You can't just be throwing your bees out there and just saying, oh, I'm going to be treatment free and I'm not going to do anything at all to them. You need to keep an eye on them. You need to know what your mite load is. You need to have a game plan if you are going treatment free. That's just my opinion. So just wanted to clarify. Because also all of our commercial strains, you can't really go treatment free. They do not have any resistance when it comes to mites or other brood diseases because they're used to always being treated with these chemicals and other things as well. So yeah, you can't just go blindly into being treatment free. You will have problems with mites if you do. You really need to have a breed a bee that has been shown to be resistant or have VSH qualities. So yeah, a little bit of my 2 cents. I'm really glad I left when I did yesterday because that storm was nasty. It actually started hailing. So yeah, that would not have been pretty. It would be fun if I would have stayed. So today I'm going through all of my nuke colonies. Yesterday I went through my 9 colonies I had started this spring. So yeah, I'm a little nervous because I have no idea if these bees were treated. I don't know anything about their background. That's the thing that happens when you buy a nuke from somebody else. So yeah, and actually when I was putting them into their permanent residence, I did see a mite on a bee. When I first saw it, I was like, why did they mark one of the worker bees? Because it looked like a marking, it was red. And then I looked closer and it was a mite. So yeah, this will be interesting to see just how high these numbers are. Also brought a measuring cup today. Hopefully this will make it a little bit easier because I was doing some of my measurements with like a cup of bees. Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of eyeball it. The one thing I don't like about in-hive feeding is it does usually attract small hive beetles, so be careful when you have a new colony and you're feeding them. And it does look like they do like the Triple Wax Premier Foundation. I don't know if you can see it, but they are starting to build it up already. Alright, so hive number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yikes, a little high. Do not like that. Also, this was the hive that the queen is too short and she is still laying all of her eggs on the side of the cell, so I had to requeen this hive anyways, so no biggie. It's hard to tell right now because I just smoked them, but I will say I am very impressed with how quickly these bees are building up. All these the nuke colonies that I got, they are building up very fast, so I will say they are very productive. So this is promising. I am seeing some hygienic behavior, so it's kind of hard to see in there. Of course they cover it up right when I try to do something, but they already ate half of that brood. They opened up the cell and ate half of it. I could tell because I can see the little legs of the baby bee, or the pupa inside there. You can kind of see it in the video too. So yeah, that's interesting. For hive number 11, I'm showing only 2 mites. Oh wait, nope, one just dropped down. I'm showing 3 mites, and I did see some bald brood like I showed you, so possible hygienic behavior. Hive number 12 and hive number 13. These are 2 of my hives that I split off of my very aggressive Italians. So I was already planning on requeening these regardless, but this one, number 12, does not have any queen cells, so I'm gonna have to provide them with 1. And number 13 has 4 queen cells, but like I said, they're daughters from a hive I was already planning on requeening, so that's all right. And not doing a mite count on those because there are not enough bees. I only did a 3-frame split, so they need every worker they can possibly get. Okay, let's skip ahead to the other hive that I had split. This is hive number 15. I do see some very small queens, one right here, one right there. So at least they got that, but I've never in my life seen this much bald brood. Like, look, and sac brood as well. Like, look at all of this bald brood. So many of the cappings are opened. I really want to test this colony because I bet you the mite load is really high. But at the same time, I know they need every bee they possibly have right now, and I was already planning on requeening because I do not want these genetics anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna leave them and wait to test right before I requeen. Also, just in case you don't know, bald brood is a symptom of PMS, so parasitic mite syndrome. It's what will show up when the mite load gets really high and the bees start being able to smell any mites that are under that capping. So they will take the capping off and they will get rid of the brood. I did see a couple cells that were cannibalized in here as well. That is another symptom. And research has shown that they're actually finding that the majority of cannibalized brood like that, where it looks like their head was eaten off, like it literally, they ate their head off, that actually they have high levels of deformed wing virus, and it's the honeybee's way of somehow fixing it. Not really sure how effective it is, but yeah, so that's why I would like to see what the mite load is in this colony right now, because it does show some hygienic behavior, but yeah, I don't know. I'm actually catching a bee cannibalizing one of them right now. This one right here, it was just really eating it and attacking it. Looks like it's going around to all of them and checking them out, seeing what's going on. So the only thing that really worries me about the fact that the bees are cannibalizing their own brood that's infected is, have you ever heard of a prion? So a prion is pretty much the same thing as mad cow disease. And what it is it's a protein that can pass the blood-brain barrier. It's something that a lot of hunters are worried about with the waste away disease that a lot of our deer have as well. So this protein, it can pass the blood-brain barrier. So it goes into your brain and it's not supposed to be there. And pretty much, long story short, it will melt your brain. And you don't know right away, actually. It happens over time. It could happen, you could eat it when, you could eat some sort of meat that has a prion in it, and you won't see the effects from that until you're maybe 60 years old, and it makes you have a really bad dementia. Honestly, it's one of the things that worries me the most, because it is something that could definitely wipe out a lot of us. But that really worries me about our bees, the fact that they cannibalize their own brood. That can't be good. And prions are usually found when you eat something from your own species. That is when you can possibly get one. So Yeah, I don't know. Not sure how I feel about that. Also, for any hunters that are out there that are now worried about their deer, I do just want to clarify that it is not crossed over to humans yet. It is right now just between deer. So, but they're afraid of it eventually evolving, changing, and crossing over to affect us as well, showing up as a prion. So, and I will just add one more thing to clarify and kind of let you grasp just how terrible having a prion is. So, since a prion is a protein, and since it's in your brain, well, okay, sorry, first. Since it's a protein, the only way to kill it or get rid of it is you have to bring it up to a extremely high temperature because it's a protein. All proteins are like this in order to get rid of it. So now, being that it be in your brain, you would pretty much have to melt your brain at like thousands of degrees in order to get rid of it. So it's uncurable and causes extreme dementia. It literally melts your brain away as you get older. So, I don't know. I just don't like to see that bees are eating their own because that can't be good. Okay, back to alcohol washes though. That looks like some really good buildup. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with this guy's bees. Alright, guess I'll just wait until the rain passes. Welcome to Michigan, where the sun is shining and it's raining at the same time. Yep, our weather's a little moody. Okay, that's a little better. I can deal with a little bit of rain. But I know the bees, yeah, they weren't happy that their hive was wide open when it started downpouring. Sorry. Yep, they're all just kind of sitting there like, I'm soaking wet now. Hive number 14, 2 mites. Hive number 22, only 2 mites. Hive number 16, 3. Hive number 17, 10 mites. Yikes. Hive number 18, 1. Hive number 19, 5. Hive number 27, and aggressive. Correction, hive number 20 had 10 mites actually. Like I said yesterday, whenever you're doing a Dawn dish soap wash, make sure you leave it for a couple minutes. What I like to do is I usually close up that hive and then I start working on the next one until I'm about to do an alcohol wash on the next one. Then I will check it again just to be sure that no more have dropped. So remember that. Hive number 21, 0. We've got 2 more hives at a different location that we need to check on, and then the day will be done. So we're almost there. Whew. Nobody tells you how much work beekeeping is when you first start. So if you're new, you haven't started beekeeping yet, just letting you know right now. It's really not that bad, I promise. It's when you start expanding like I am that a lot of work starts piling up. So when I first started doing these alcohol washes, I was spraying them with a spray bottle to prevent them from flying away before I threw them in the testing container. And as I've been doing it, I've been thinking, and actually I think it'd be best not to spray them, and here's why. So you're trying to test all of the nurse bees, the ones that take care of the young, and the nurse bees aren't really gonna fly away. But the ones that you don't really need to test are gonna fly away. So I'm not gonna be using this anymore. Hive number 23 at a new location, 0. Hive number 24, 0. Well, thanks for following along. This is definitely going to be an interesting journey. Next on the list is finding some good quality queens with good genetics. So yeah, with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.